It's curious, but today I'm not in Lleida, I'm in Paris, because we are also having another investors meeting here in Paris, but I am delighted to be here. I am in a corner of the big saloon in a hotel, but I'm here to taking the nice possibilities of doing everything online and doing this presentation. Okay. Well, I'm going to start. Welcome. I am Sisco Sapena, the CEO of Lleida.net. Lleida.net, it's a member of the GCMA Association since 2007, I think. And we have been an active member of the association during many time. Many of you, especially knows Beatrix, which is our interconnection director, and also now it's even member of the board of the company. And we have a good team that I'm proud of, which is always, well, trying to reach agreements with the different operators worldwide and offer the service itself. Obviously, when they told me that there was not going to be a physical wash this time, they offered us to obviously to try to help in order to do this roundtable and explain ourselves, basically, what we have done during the last years, because we are an operator very innovative in the way that we do the things. Some of you even know us from the deals that we have or even the agreements that we have. And well, I'm going to take the occasion to explain you what we are actually doing, what is the reason why we went to the stock market and we have done our IPO, which is basically to get resources to expand the registered service that we are going to explain you. And now, thanks to this COVID, is helping us. It's basically boosting our services everywhere, and we think that our example may help the different operators to recover revenues from that lost revenues from the roaming, because thanks to the pandemic, nobody's traveling. We have no tourists. There's no tourism. There's no hospitality services worldwide. So the dropping of the revenues and of many of the operators is huge. And we open a new way to get more revenues from our actual services, which is basically becoming a digital witness. Digital witness, well, there's a story behind of being a digital witness, and it's what we are going to explain you today. Okay. Well, let's take. Well, here we have the agenda of what we are going to do today. I'm going to explain the origins of the service. I'm going to explain how it works and the different evolutions that we have made with the service, the registered SMS contract or the SMS deal, the registered mail, and the registered inbox. Also, the market implementations, how we are doing it, results, business case, and well, I have to thanks to the NOS people that today is with us, and they will explain their case in Portugal, which they are, because they are going to do it in Portugal. And at the end, we have questions and answers that will be very pleased, myself or my team, to explain the different questions that we may have. Well, obviously, we started as an operator in 2006. Okay, we were the second fixed line operator. The difference is that instead of being a mobile or virtual, we become a virtual fixed operator. Okay, because what we wanted is having number and resources to be able to send and to receive SMS with that numbers, okay? And the only way that we found able to do it was obtaining a license of a virtual fixed line operator. And we were the second who had interconnections, SMS interconnection agreements with the different mobile operators. Okay? The first one was Telefonica. And because the incumbent had opened the doors, others might follow, and we were the first one to follow that initiative made by Telefonica in Spain, okay? The characteristic that we had is that we had no hardware, no mobile phones, basically soft phones that we were implemented into the PCs. And with that soft, we were able to send and to receive messages, okay? Text messages. Obviously, we become very successful in good customers, in average customers, and those customers who anyone want. And it's amazing to realize how the bad guys like the good service, okay? And well, because we had many customers, a very successful operator, many customers, suddenly we start to receive requests from the judges, okay? Like most of you, if you're an operator, frequently you receive requests from the judges regarding data of who's that guy who's behind that number, or who's that guy behind that IP, or who's that guy behind that email. Well, during the first days, well, it was nice to help the justice, okay? Because it's an obligation for the operator. That's why we have the license, okay? And we are considered trusted third party. So depending on what we say on that certificate, people might be jailed or might be get out of the jail, okay? So, well, for the first time, it was nice. We were happy, but suddenly we realized that we had a problem, which is at the end, it was nice the first time, the second, even the third, but at the 20th time that that judge or another judge knock our doors requesting for data, the problem is that you're not getting paid for that, okay? You have only expenses. And many times the judges, they really don't know what they are looking for, and they ask for your help, and you need to use the most powerful computers of the company in order to get the answers that they are looking for or dig into the data, okay? Because actually the amount of data it's huge amount of data, okay? But well, at the end, that's why they provide us the license to become an operator, okay? So as I told you, our service was basically having a soft phone into the PC, and with that soft phone, using the interconnections agreements that we have with the different operators, the people was able to send that text message to the different destinations, okay, using the interconnections agreements. And obviously, when that message was delivered, we got the delivery report generated by the phone. And with that delivery report, we were generating an email that was sent to the customer, okay? I remember that it was something that was very near not to appear on the software, because we developed it at the end of the day. We were, well, totally part of developing on coding and so, but we added it into the service. And well, one day, and well, that service was used also by nearly 80% of our customers. And that was a paid service. The customers were paying almost the same price as a text message, but was used by 80% of the people. But suddenly one day, we had an issue with the interconnections with Vodafone, in a way that the message was delivered, but we didn't get the delivery report. So because we couldn't get the delivery report, we were not able to generate that email for the destination. Okay. And well, that day I received a phone call that I personally attend, and it was a secretary of a city hall complaining. Oh, the service is not working. I'm not receiving what I'm looking for. And I answered her, well, don't worry, the message is being delivered, but because they have this technical issue, blah, 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 we're not able to generate that email, okay? And her answer was, well, I don't mind if the messages are being delivered or not. I don't have the email that proves that my work has been done. So I got totally astonished because here, the customer, for that customer, the subproduct of the formula, that email had much more value than the service itself, which was the SMS. Because with that email, she was able to prove to her boss that the work has been done. Well, it was astonishing for us, but we realized, ourselves, we are a trusted third party. So we are acting like a digital witness. So, and because we are a trusted third party, we're able to certify what the user have sent or what the user have received. So, and well, on one side we have our judges requesting for certificates with the difficulty that we are not getting paid for that information. And in the other side, the users were paying, very happy to pay for the service of that email who explains that that text have been delivered. Okay. So then, well, we realized that we could provide that service to the customers. And there was no equivalent, in electronic equivalent, in the world, because I also, during many years, I have been I have been working for the insurance world, and I had some experience regarding that. Okay? Because until then, only national post companies were able to generate certificates of what the customer have sent or have received, okay? But using paper, using postal methodologies, the classical registered mail, or in Spain and in France, registered fax was generated, was created. Even, you remember just a couple of 3 months ago, what happened with Messi, the Burofax, it was the name of the registered fax, gained and more name worldwide because they have sent that Burofax to the club because it's in an official way to do the things, which includes the content, not only the letter, but also includes the content. Okay, so ourselves, well, we developed the service, but using the text, using text messaging. Okay, so what we do? Well, basically, we use the interconnections agreement with the different operators. Okay, and when we receive the delivery report, we generate, instead of a simple email, we generate a certificate as a telecom operator saying that this customer have sent an SMS with that text on that date and was sent to that number and was delivered on that day, on that date, on that hour, okay? And this, because it's made by a digital witness, a telecom operator, it's legally binding on court. So you may use it to prove what you have sent or what you have received, okay, including the text. And well, the certificate is exactly the same that you generate for the judges when a judge claim you some data from your customers. Exactly the same, but instead of generating it to the judge, you are generating to the customers. And you are being paid for that, which is the most wonderful thing in the known times, okay? Well, once we started with commercializing the registered SMS, then also we realized that, well, as a telecom operator, we're able to certify what the customer is sending, and we are also able to certify what the customer is receiving, okay? And one day, I had some certificates of sent messages or even received messages. I opened the door, okay? And the wind blew out, and some of my papers just lowered from my own table. And well, when I was trying to pick that paper, that certificate, suddenly I realized that one certificate of received SMS was put it down on the paper of the sent certificate. So I realized if we put it together, then it becomes a legally binding contract. There's a third party who certifies the question and the answer, okay? And then the registered SMS contract was born. Today, around 70% of the utilities in Spain, around 10% of the utilities in Italy, in France, and also in Portugal are using this technology to create contracts regarding power services to the people, okay? And it's perfect for online users and basically eliminates paperwork. Okay? And the certificate is exactly the same. Just the question, the answer, when it was done, and that with that certificates, we add a digital signature and a timestamp to be legally binding, because in that case, that certificates don't need any notary, because we are the trusted third party. The operator is the trusted third party, okay? But well, it was nice to develop it for the SMS, but many customers were asking us, well, why don't you provide us the registered email also? Because I just want to have just one provider for generating certificates. Until then, the registered email that was used was a delivery sheet by email, which is basically when I wish to send you something, I have to download it into a website. I've sent you an email saying just click here, go to that website, and you see it, and there's agreement, and then we generate that certificate. But when you wish to send a complaint or a claim, or so, people is not going to click to go to a website, okay? And one of the things that we realized during the previous crisis was that the postal companies was not working. Nobody was receiving the invoices. Nobody was receiving the bills. Well, everyone was saying that I never received that bill, okay? So, well, we had to send it again, more paper, more time, more delay in paying the invoices, more delay in paying the bills, more delay in paying utilities. So, well, we think that just to try to solve that problem, we're able to develop our own methodology with registered email without having that issue, okay? And because, well, at the end, we have developed the technology for registered SMS, for registered SMS contract. And, well, we might do the same with email, just using the excuse of sending invoices, sending bills. Well, we have the excuse to develop our registered email service. Okay. And well, we started to work and we created our registered email version with using what is called the KISS technology. Do you know what KISS technology is? KISS technology is basically, well, what is called keep it simple, stupid, okay? So when we were developing the methodology, we know that if we have to implement something on a customer side, we're gonna need around 6 more months or even 1 year month to be implemented, okay? But if we were able to develop something that didn't need to be implemented on the computer side of our customer, things will be much, much faster. So what we finally developed is a methodology that, well, when you send a registered email, use your email provider, don't use hacking technology, don't use a spam technology, which is diverting ports and installing things on the computer. No, don't worry, easier. Just send me a copy, okay? When you send that email, you send through your own provider, and we receive the copy. And once we receive that copy, we resend it to the destination, okay? In a way that we tell to the destination, now that message that was sent by my customer, now it becomes official, because one of the rules to send registered email or registered text is that the destination have to notice that is becoming official, that is becoming registered. So it has to be put it in any part of the message. And ourselves, we put it on the subject. Since now, this is becoming an official communication from my customer, okay? Because the sender is the operator, the sender is Lleida.net, it's not the customer. But we are sending on behalf, but it's being sent by ourselves, the digital witness of the system. Well, once the message is being delivered and our computer acknowledges that it's being delivered to your official representative on the network, which is your provider, then we generate a certificate as a telecom operator that proves that your message has been sent with the content and everything, okay? Well, and we have developed these methodologies, and what we have done meanwhile is creating patents regarding that methodologies. Because the typical thing on the internet is having copycats. If you do one thing and it's being successful, the neighbor or the neighbor company or some other company might try to copy it very quickly, and you may lose the advantage also very quickly. So what we have done is created patents regarding that methodology, registered SMS, registered email, registered email contracts, and so on, to create the mode against these copycats, okay? Because we discovered and covered one market need, which is a legal service provided by a telecom operator. And we are just using the same technologies that we are actually using for providing classical telecom services. There's no need to improve the centrals, it's not needed to improve the antennas, it's not needed to do anything. Just you're doing exactly the same. We are providing a legal service. This is not a rich SMS, this is not a complicated SMS. No. It's a new legal service provided by a telecom operator. Until now, the providers, the telecom operators, they were just providing that legal services to judges, okay? But judges don't pay. But now, using that methodologies that we have developed, telecom operators are able to provide that legal services to their customers and charge good money for that kind of service, because with that service, the customer is able to prove what he had sent, what he had received, and it's huge money for the customer. So they don't have any problem to pay more for the service because it's not the pure SMS, it's not the call that it's done. And so keep in mind that we have to maintain that record, that certificate, almost 5 years. Okay. So, well, what are the results of that technology? What are the results of that methodology itself? Well, that registered services was presented at the Mobile World Congress in 2012, okay, 8 years ago, okay. But that service motivated our IPO in the map, in the Spanish secondary market. When we started our IPO, our valuation was 19 million euros. In 2018, we started to be listed at the Euronext Growth, and it was what once in a couple of weeks or before November, we're going to be listed at the OTCQX in New York. And today's stock valuation of the company is 160 million, which is good. And the best news for that is that last quarter SaaS growth have been 64%. 64% for the registered service, registered email, registered SMS contract, because we are going to what is called a low-touch economy. Low-touch economy. People don't want to touch things, don't want to touch paper, don't want to go places, don't allow to postman, the classical postman, to enter into home. No, just ring the bell and leave it. I don't want to sign anything. I don't want to, no. Everything is turning into digital, okay? And regarding, well, that kind of services for the other operators, well, what we are facing as an operator, as a classical operator, especially the mobile operators, is that the roaming revenues went down. People is not traveling, people is not visiting other countries, and the revenue literally disappears. There's no revenue, okay? So current services have many more competitors, less margins, and operators need to offer new services, okay? New services, new original services who have different value or different point of view of the value, okay? And, well, our customers needs to digitize their services due to the epidemic situation, needs to do it everything electronically, okay? But using our methodologies, operators may generate many new revenues using the current network infrastructure. There's no need to upgrade anything. It's a new way, we are providing new services using the existing infrastructures. There's no need for something more that, well, doing few things, okay? Because people are switching digital, okay? And what is Lleida.net doing during the last time is basically we are licensing, we are offering that kind of services, that opportunity that we created, okay, to be able to be provided in your own countries. Because in your country, people need to claim debts. In your country, people need to do electronic contracts. In your country, companies need to digitize their processes, okay? And this service don't replace the current SMS services, they are new service, okay? And in the case of Europe, we have a new system which is called eIDAS, and our services comply with eIDAS, and we are able to adopt the services to their local frameworks to ensure the validity and legal admissibility of the services. And these services are being used by banks, by courts, by insurance companies, by utilities, by consultants, and by call centers, by debt collectors, but many new customers, okay? And well, what we are doing, how we are building that new relationship, well, basically is doing the same as we are being doing during the last 100 years, the SMS 20, which is basically using that interconnection agreement and a new connection to send that registered SMS to ensure the biggest quality. And well, let's share the income, depending on obviously the amount and so on. Here I have my people that may explain the different conditions and so on. But it's a huge opportunity to operators to get new revenues without doing too much efforts. Okay, it's basically the willing of doing it, because the need, there's the need. People needs to claim faster, cheaper, needs to digitize themselves faster, cheaper, and we are now in what we call a Big Mac area. I want a burger. I want it now. If you don't provide me that burger, I'm going to Burger King or Wimpy or any other different. People is willing to have it very fast, quick now, and we are able to now, with the technologies and methodologies that Lleida.net developed and have these granted patents, we are able to provide new services to that, new needs that appears, and because the COVID exacerbated the need in different countries in different scenarios. And well, because as you might notice, I like to talk. I've been working on radio during 6 years, so I'm able to speak to you during many times, but I don't wish to bore you. I let more colleagues from NOS who explain themselves what they wanted to do and their own situation.
Okay, thank you, Sisco. First of all, thanks to you and to the Lleida team for this opportunity, and to all attendees. So I'm Leonardo. I'm the NOS Wholesale A2P product manager at NOS, which is a leading telco in Portugal. And I'm here to talk a bit about our experience with Lleida and registered SMS. As Sisco mentioned, our messaging environment in Portugal, it's highly competitive. There's growth in new uses of SMS for all sorts of tokens, OTP, logistics, etc. But in our market, we do observe, we're living a huge price war, which obviously reflects itself in our bottom line. Telco products are being commoditized, so we obviously need to figure out new ways to increase the value of our offering. Sisco mentioned the pandemic, and so that's obviously a point. But even before the pandemic, we were looking at new ways to increase the value of our offering, and playing to our strengths. As a leading telco operator in Portugal, we have a huge commercial strength. We have a huge customer base, and we know what they want. And obviously, what they want is, less paper, faster response times, easier ways to manage their legal burdens. As Sisco mentioned, European legislation actually facilitates electronic signature products. So again, even before the pandemic struck, we were looking at potential venues where how we could implement this type of services in Portugal, and our answer was actually, Lleida, and we were. Again, we were able to, approach, and we started working with Lleida so that we can offer, advanced SMS communications, which basically the registered SMS and registered SMS contract. That's what we're talking about here. Talking about our experience, obviously, I think I'll go through the main challenge that we had, which is, the legal validity of this type of communications. And we are very comfortable of the legal validity. Again, it's sustained on a European regulation. we've checked with the Portuguese electronic certification body, and we're comfortable with the product itself. And we are now quite eager to offer this product to our customers because it has a very added value, and that's good for NOS, obviously, but also because there's, you know, immense number of use cases, pardon me, that you can use to sell this product. I mean, from everything from a bank sending a certified SMS warning that their customers have an overdraft to give you a very concrete example that NOS is already using. For example, if you go to a NOS retail shop and you buy an equipment, we offer an insurance via a third party. That third party uses a registered SMS to actually, in the moment of purchase of whatever equipment you're purchasing, can send you registered SMS asking if you agree to the insurance details, and then you answer immediately. That's certified, that's fast, that enables our partner, insurance company, to keep a very, you know, to track everything that they do. So we are quite, I should say, excited to work with Lleida, and we are very hopeful for the success of this product. Sorry, I do also talk a lot.
I have to say that during the pandemic, it was amazing the huge number of registered SMS being sent, especially by what we call the labor tech, people or lawyers devoted to labor, because many businesses had to be shut down. And to claim the help of the government, you have to demonstrate that you advised your workers that the business is shut down. Okay. And to have this help from the government, you need to prove that you advised your workers. Okay. And with that registered SMS was being used by more than 1 million workers. And then once we have done the first time with registered SMS, many companies translated that service to registered email because they need to say something that, well, don't come back. We are shut down. There's a shutdown, but then there's the typical legal paper and so.
Okay. The SMS for us is interesting because of its immediacy. It's one of those things you can sign a contract in the store. You can establish a contract in a store, and I mean, even for commercial retail, whatever. I mean, there's loads of use cases that one could figure.
One of the classical for the registered SMS contract are the power companies. Okay, because power companies now, that's liberated. In some countries is liberated. In Portugal it's liberated. In Spain it's liberated. Yeah. So people may switch, like in a telecom operator, in a mobile one, may switch from one company to another, okay? So what the power companies do is sending that registered SMS with the minimum details of the contract and basically request to an agreement, an explicit agreement from that customer saying yes or no, but an answer, and then we generate that certificate with the question and with the answer. Yeah. So it's very easy for people.
It's for us, it was very interesting to note. Obviously, a registered SMS has 612 characters, which allows for you to write actually a whole contract, a very legible contract. There's no. It's what it is. You can't get away from that. It's also interesting for us. Because in Portugal, and it's what it is, smartphone penetration is thereabouts 80%. So there's 20% of the population that only has, functional phones, and the SMS actually, it's universal. Most about everyone has got a cell phone, and for certain populations, that guarantees that we can actually, communicate to them, or our clients can communicate to them.
Yes. Yes, and also I will ask Manuel Gallo to explain us some other experiences in other places of the world.
Yes, so I was going to mention a couple of different things. Number one is that the SMS communication channel is probably the big forgotten one by default when we understand any legislations and any regulations on electronic communications. So when we read all those regulations in Europe, in Middle East, in Africa, in Asia, we always think about electronic communications as digital signature, online contracts, websites, maybe email. And we frequently forget that SMS is another way of electronic communication. So what we have done in our systems, and when we get those systems prepared for partners like NOS or other people or postal services companies, is we work together on the full legal framework. And the full legal framework, as of today, supports 100% the SMS-based communication as an electronic communication that is fully regulated. So from that perspective, we can achieve the full legal admissibility of all the messages transmitted over the SMS channel. And this is one of the things we do. In terms of other experiences, I can tell you that, for example, in Africa, these kind of services become especially important because of the low penetration of mobile broadband among the population, especially in some countries. So in some of those countries, we have already reached agreements with some postal services companies, with some telcos. Malawi, for example, is one of the examples of countries where we reached an agreement. Malawi is a country where about 15% of the population does have access to mobile broadband. But most of the population has access to the SMS communication and SMS channels. So this becomes extremely interesting also for governments and for all kinds of businesses to be used for legal purposes communications. Also in both in Europe and Africa and even in Middle East, there are some new regulations about debt payments, debt claims. And the debt collections is one of the huge markets that we are addressing today, providing us with significant amounts of revenue. As in most countries, there are increasing number of new regulations related to debt collections and debt payments. So one example is in the UAE. There's a recent regulation where if you can demonstrate that the debtor has received electronic communication of the debt claim, you can start to open a case at court only 5 days later. And this can be achieved also by providing the communication via registered SMS. We are using it also in many countries for debt restructuring purposes, like someone who is paying systematically late, and the finance company is sending a registered SMS saying, there, Mr. Customer, we see that you're having some difficulties. What about extending the loan term to 1 more year and reducing the monthly fees down to whatever? And the customer can respond saying, yes, I accept. Then we put both communications, the offer and the proposal, in the same documentary evidence, a digitally signed document, where we say there was an SMS with this proposal, there was a response with this acceptance. This is a valid contract almost everywhere. And there's very few exceptions where electronic commerce regulations do not allow to use SMS for these purposes. As far as that's an electronic contract, there's a digital signature that we provide involved in the evidence document. And as a telco operator, we can be considered as a trusted third party.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we have one interesting document. When I joined the company, I saw it. It's a very old document, but still very valid, that we call 101 uses of registered SMS. If you want to get a copy, just request us and we will send to you. But there's exactly 101 different use cases of registered SMS that we have currently applied somewhere in the world.
Yes. Well, any question from the audience? Yes, Ines?
Hi, so far we have no questions. please feel free to chat and we will pass these questions to the team. Any questions?
Maybe everything is a question.
Everyone's shy.
Let me add some more comments about how we operate this service. In case of telco operators, like in the case of NOS, we as a telco operator operate a different number of interconnections for SMS proposals, and we can provide termination of SMS in about 1,500 mobile networks in the world. We use these interconnections as the basis for transmitting our legally valid messages anywhere in the form of 600-character SMS. So when we reach an agreement with any telco operator, normally what we do is to establish a direct SMPP interconnection with this telco network. So all the traffic that we transmit or receive between us and this telco operator is transmitted using their existing network. In case we reach agreement with a postal service organization, then we use our wide interconnection network. But the fact is we really leverage the existing SMS interconnection network, and we try to optimize all the communications when we reach an agreement with a telco operator. So we don't need to add any specific hardware, software, plugins, anything. Let's say we are not a software company, we develop software, but we are a telco operator, even if a small one as a telco operator. And we take everything from a telco operator perspective. So we don't use any kind of spying software or any of those things. We just use a standard SMPP and SNMP protocols to perform all this service. And we create different services on top of these procedures to the level that we have today, approximately 190 different patents for these procedures and services worldwide.
Yes. We have one question from Anthony Christie. Hi, Anthony. Nice to see you again. There's a long period since we met in the US last year. Okay. And he's asking us in how many countries have you launched? Well, actually, it's being used by people in around 30 countries, okay, that they are using that registered SMS. More officially, obviously, in around 12 countries, but it's being used in around 40 because people need to send SMS, registered SMS or registered email in many different countries, especially when there's one from one country from another, which is also being used for that. But most of the traffic comes from around 10 different countries. Okay. But this basically opens the opportunity to many of the operators that we have present, that we have even attended to the conference, that there's a huge opportunity to get these different revenues. We are totally open to implement that technology and share the profits, because it's really an opportunity that even before the COVID, but now thanks to the COVID, it's a wider opportunity for all of us, for all the operators, to try to recover that the revenues that are actually not coming from the roaming and from the huge competence that we have and we face with the different SMS services. Okay.
Then let me add that in terms of the value that is added by each of the parties, Lleida.net will be one of the parties and the telco operator will be the other party. The value added by the telco operator is not only the network. Just think about the following. The telco operator owns the network, the termination network. The telco operator owns the customer base, even much more than for example, taxes departments. So telco operators have more customers than taxes departments. And something that's very, very important from a legal standpoint and from a trust standpoint. telco operator, when registering any SIM card to be capable to receive an SMS, is performing something that is legally called the KYC. So telco operator is the one who knows exactly who is behind the telephone number and who is behind the telephone number receiving an SMS. So this means high quality identification of the receiver of a message in front of courts. And this is something that many other people cannot do. So the combination of our processes, our technology, our legally admissible messages, combined together with your networks and your customer base and your identification of who is behind the number, makes a very, very powerful combination as a service.
Okay. Well, many thanks for the audience. It's have been an hour till now. Okay. If we have no questions here, you may ask our colleagues or even myself, well, how to implement the service. We think that is maybe a very powerful way to get new revenues. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Leonardo. Thank you to my team, to the WASP people, and we hope that this convention will be very fruitful in new contacts, new developments, and new contracts, not only contacts. Okay, thank you very much for attending, and we are at your disposal.